Good morning, everyone, and thank you for inviting us to Urban Lab session. My name is Olivera, and I'm an architect and urban researcher with experience in community-based design and participatory urbanism. With this presentation, I will try to frame out the most suitable methods, but also some examples of focus group discussions as part of participatory projects. Focus group discussions are a good way for urban researchers to explore the context, especially the intangible context, beyond the surveys and analysis. But also, what's important is they're the good way to involve community and build connections and trust. Before we do focus group discussions, we need to understand what do we already have from the data and the understanding of the context. What should we explore? Where are the gaps? What are the issues? And in general, what do we expect as a result? Optimal duration of focus group discussion is 90 minutes, but it can take longer. It is important to have some structure in advance, but it is also very important to be open for improvisation and allow participants to stretch out the schedule if that is necessary. We need to think in advance how will we use the results. This will help us to know how to ask the questions, but also how to design interaction, which tools we will use, which platforms, which methods, etc. Now I will show you some examples of how this can work on the field. My first steps as community architect started in Serbia with a group that I was co-leading with my colleague, School of Urban Practices. During 4 years of our work, we completed 6 community projects and won a national prize for urbanism, which showed recognition of this practice. During this time, we have practiced and developed methods for community engagement that I had later chance to try out in Oman local communities. When we talk about the process of involving citizens, I need to point out that it is not always the same, it is not easy, and it can always get out of the plan. But these are some basic steps to start with. Community is involved from the very first step of the process, which is data collection. But then we make sure to organize focus group discussions every now and then in order to ensure the continuous involvement until the final result is made. Planning the focus group discussion should focus on coverage of full interaction. There should be enough team members to take care of all the roles, such as facilitator, note-taker, photographer, etc. From our experience, one of the most important takeouts was that hospitality is a valuable element. When there is food and warm drinks, people tend to feel welcome and familiarize with the space faster. Another common element in most of our projects is a large-scale model of the environment, which you can see here on the picture. Bringing this into the space of interaction makes participants easier to relate to the topic of discussion and to the space itself. This is the project for the design of a shared space for neighbors in one residential building. It started as an initiative by the president of Union of Residents to reuse the neglected basement of the building. As part of this project, we have organized several events with them, such as cleaning the courtyard, having a small concert of classical music, inviting them for a tea talk, and building a large-scale model together with them. Unfortunately, the project was not finished, but we have learned a lot and had enough feedback to upgrade our method for the future practice. 2 years later, we did My Piece of Savamala, a project which involved more than 120 participants and experts in the design of a public space. It started as an initiative by local community and the cultural festival Mixer, who both wanted to defend the only remaining green space, which was about to be turned into a parking lot by one of the largest international investors in Belgrade. For 3 continuous months, we have worked in scale 1-to-1 in the context with the community and towards a common solution, which was finally presented to the city authorities and the developer. We have asked every of 120 participants to design a public space in the shape of a triangle and try to place it in the big map of the context. The table was set in the middle of that exact space, so participants were invited to imagine the desired future while sitting in the context. For those who were not skilled in drawing, we served as architect translators and drew the maps instead of them. Here you can see the final moment. Local community meeting together with city authorities, the investor, and experts in urban planning, all together around the large-scale model of the proposed solution for this public space. The project was not implemented completely, but the public space was preserved and still being used by community. Coming to Oman and trying to implement these ideas within a different cultural context was a valuable experience. Here I will quickly point out some of the conclusions drawn in comparison with previous examples. Although I have implemented the same methods of approaching community and reaching out to them, we discovered as an important factor to have a mediator, a person who is going to be the reference point. That would usually be an influential and respected voice in the community who could share a few words about our workshop with locals before we arrived to the site. We also needed to take care to equally involve both genders in this process, and sometimes that meant organizing the same workshop 2 times. The collected data from the workshop is often very complex to analyze, and same as for the process, there is not a universal way of how to do it. Most probably it will be customized for each and every project, and it is important to have this in mind in advance when planning the workshops. Thank you for your time, and I hope that this information was interesting and useful for your work, and hope to collaborate more in the future.